Alright, well, time to feed these hungry Steam Deck fans. Hello viewers, another beautiful day. Yep, hope your five senses work. Health and strength is good. Alright, excellent. Alright gamers, let's see, we got another Proton update. Yeah, remember, there's Proton Experimental, Proton Hotfix, GE Proton, Proton GE, Proton from Valve, and then there's VKD3D Proton. Yeah. But speaking of VKD3D Proton, it's got an update, and this is involve wine too. So you need all that when you're running games on the Steam Deck and Linux. Listen to this. This article got 10 comments. It says this: VKD3D Proton 1.12 release with support for direct outputting SPIV and D3D shaders assembly. It says here, while VKD3D Proton that is bundled with Valve's Steam Play Proton is the most common source for mapping direct 3D12 over the Vulkan API for Windows games on Linux, Wine VKD3D upstream continues to be developed. Out today is VKD3D 1.12 as the newest feature release for this open source D3D12 and on Vulkan implementation. On a Vulkan. That's a Vulkan implementation. Says VKD3D 1.12 is out now as the newest release of Direct 3D to Vulkan translation library. There are 3 key highlights to new versions. Then it says first, VKD3D high-level shading language HLSL compile is now available directly output Spir V, that's SPIRV, immediate representation as well as direct 3D shaders assembly. SPIRV, of course, can be consumed by Vulkan and OpenGL driver, having direct output to SPIRV and direct D3D shaders assembly can be useful for debugging and comparison purposes. Then it says VKD3D 1.12 also brings improved support for shader models and 1 through 3 profile within the HLSL compiler. Lastly is the rather varied assortments of bug fixes and performance optimization for bettering the bettering this direct 3D support atop Vulkan. It says here VKD3D 1.12 will be pulled into the upstream Wine software while also wanting to learn more about this new library release can do so via wine.org. Yeah, updates, Steam Deck, Linux, and it says here, the latest news in the wine community. More can be found in our World Wine News article. It says the VKD3D team is proud to announce that the release of 1.12 of VKD3D, the Direct 3D to Vulkan translation library, is now available. This release contains improvements that are listed in the release note below. The main highlights are the HLSL compiler can directly output SPIRV and Direct 3D shaders assembly, improved support for shaders models 1 to 3 profile in the HLSL compiler, and miscellaneous bug fixes and performance. Yeah, so that should help you with you running your games on your on Linux desktop, laptop, and Steam Deck. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are good. Now we got about, how many comments we got here? Let's see here. We got 11 comments. When I first seen this, it had about 8. Now we got 11 comments. Let's see what people are talking about here. One person here said this. One person here, SH said this: how well does it support DX7 slash direct draw? I tried running VTM redemption with it without success. And he says, i.e. using Vulkan backend for Wine D3D. And since DXVK slash VKD3D Proton don't plan to support DX7, VKD3D is a good candidate to handle old 32-bit games like that without 32-bit system runtime, since OpenGL backend for Wine 3D in such mode has very bad performance so far. And these are people that are sharing their thoughts on the whole see if I can get this out the way here. Close this. Yeah, share their thoughts and their inputs on running games on Linux. Now, let me close this here. I'll get to that PlayStation thing later. Now, get this going. Now, next comment. Let's see, who was that? Okay. Oops. We had 8. Okay. Now, here's the other comment. Next person here says, okay. He says, check out DG Voodoo 2, though it translates DX1 through 7 and direct draw to DirectX 11 or 12. And with that, you can choose whether to use DXVK, VKD3D Proton, VKD3D original Wine 3D, and Wine D3D, or its Vulkan backend, which is said is currently only works on Direct 10 and DirectX 11. Another person here says, "Are you sure? I thought," and then SH said this, "Are you sure? I thought VKD3D is a general purpose backend for Wine D3D. So it should implement all version to however early it goes. Plus, it's mentioned shader models 1 that around D3D 8, so it clearly isn't limited to D3D 12. DirectX 7 direct draw is even older and shader models, so maybe they didn't target it yet. I will take a look at DG Voodoo 2. Anyway, another person here says, okay, well, looking at it, I think it works like this. Draw, DirectX 7, Wine 3D, VKD3D, and Vulkan reference. And he says, but I didn't dig too much into it, so it's sure if that path actually hits Vulkan for D3D7. But Wine D3D itself has a VKD3D base Vulkan backend, it seems." And then let's see, Kif said this, VKD3D 12 only, Wine D3DX 11 draws with OpenGL backend, DirectX 10 and 11 only with the Vulkan one, as that one by far isn't complete yet. Wine D3D may provide DXG L and .dll stuff like basic device enumeration for VKD3D, but that's pretty much it. There's no Wine D3D VKD3D path for translating rendering instructions. That means they got work to do on this. That's what all this means. People sharing their comments. And I think Spir said this, I also looked at DG Voodoo 2. Why is there no source for it? Meaning source code. Says bizarre in this day and age. And then Kif said this, it's an ongoing passion project for single developers who has been maintaining DG Voodoo for well over a decade. At this point, there may not be any source code, but it's freeware and files linked to its other projects are provided. And let's see, Reg said this, well, if he weren't a closed source ego, Andy, he would be a single developer. Another person here says, see if I can get this. Let's see, another person here says, yeah, I did like to see a Linux port for use with DOSBox staging. I am now using OpenGlide with some patches, but there are some rendering glitches when playing the 3D FX version of Carmageddon Splat Pack. Anyway, yeah, these guys will share their inputs and their thoughts. Now, alright, who's the next person? See if I get the next comment here. Okay. And another person here says, Muddy said this, you certainly are feeling very entitled to insult him for what he should do with his own work that he's giving away for free. Well, you always got one person in the comment section that will say something crazy. Another person here says, then make your own. He says, well, he said, then make your own and stop. Can't say the last word. Starts with a B. Anyway, okay, but that's all the report I got to report on Proton, VKD3D. You know, that version of Proton always need work and always needs improvement. So there's an ongoing work with Proton, you know, to make sure it works. So games that are old and new that's running on different versions of DirectX, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know, there's always ongoing work in that area. So at least Linux players get to play a lot of Windows games with the updated versions of Proton, because there's different versions of it. You know, you got DXVK, D3D, you got Proton Hotfix, Proton Experimental, Proton from Valve, and then Proton GE and GE Proton. You need all that to run, and then there's Wine. You need all that to run games on Linux. So yeah, it's always an ongoing, it's always work involved to get all these games to run on Linux. You know, because Linux is an operating system, Windows. So a lot of games when they're made for Windows, but Linux user base is pretty big, so they want to play some games. So Proton is the recipe to make that work. And then there's Wine, and yeah. But other than that, man, it's an ongoing work process on Proton. So there'll be more updates coming. More updates coming to Proton, and I'll keep you guys up to date. Of course, there's Steam OS too that's always getting updates. So Valve, keep pushing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars, start the thing. Or Dark Side. Go. Peace.